So Bitcoin is trying to break this trend line, but it's actually doing exactly what it does after an FOMC meeting. If you take it to the hourly chart, what you'll realize is that it went down, it went up, and then now it's starting to come down again. So that's pretty much what Bitcoin does before an FOMC meeting. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about something that I've picked up that may show that we are actually getting a run on Bitcoin. We're also going to look at 𝗕𝗑𝗄 and see how it's breaking an all-time high. And then there was maybe a rug pull on a coin or a token, another meme coin called WallStreetBets coin. And I've got the founder of WallStreetBets on the show today talking about what actually happened and whether this was actually a rug pull. So we're going to be talking about that as well. And then very, very, very importantly, and maybe the most important thing we're going to talk about today is whether Jerome Powell and some of the bigger forces, and I'm going to mention names just because I don't want this video to get taken off YouTube, but are they working together to crash all the small regional banks so that they can strengthen the bigger banks and then make it easier for themselves to launch a central bank digital currency? That's what we're going to be talking about today. So it's a jam-packed show today. Get out of bed now.
Get the fuck out of bed, bitch, go. Get up, and get the guy go. Time to wake up, bitch, get up. Get up, get up.
Listen to Daniel, listen to Daniel because he or she knows that alpha is incoming. There is alpha incoming in the show. It's going to be a very, very high alpha per minute show today because there's a lot going on that we need to talk about. If you're new to the channel, thank you for coming because you guys are driving up a subscriber count, 624,000, and also the fastest major fastest growing major channel in the crypto interweb. So thank you. If you are one of our regulars, welcome back. Let me know that you're present. Gaza, I know you're present. George is present. I'll tell you who else is present. You know who else is present? Jamie's present. He's the founder of WallStreetBets. He's here on our show today, and we're going to talk about something to do with WallStreetBets. So he's present. Ferdy, present?
Present.
Josh?
Present.
James?
Yeah.
I know Fred's present because I saw him outside. So everybody's in class. Let us know you're in class. All right, let's talk about what happened yesterday at the most boring FOMC meeting of all time. We streamed it. We were on Twitter Spaces. We got ragged by Twitter Spaces. We also streamed it. Most boring Twitter. No, there was a very good Twitter Spaces because we were doing it. But the most boring FOMC ever. Okay, there was zero volatility in this FOMC. The result is that you got Bitcoin. Here, let me just go back to daily. On this trend, trying to get out of this trend and actually trying to break through this $30,000 level, because remember, this is a very key level. This is a level that takes us back. I'm going to quickly go back and just show you how far it takes us back. So it's like this key level over here, this, call it that 30,000 level over here, is a super, super, super important level. There is one indicator that shows that Bitcoin actually may break it. And the clue lies here in the gold price. So yesterday, if you were listening to the FOMC, what you would have seen is that during the FOMC, or maybe just after the FOMC meeting yesterday, when Powell came out, what did we see? We saw gold spiking. And gold didn't spike to any level. Gold spiked to an all-time high. So we had gold spiking to now an all-time high. Now, this is actually a clue that maybe Bitcoin may run. And I'm going to show you the fundamental data that actually shows that maybe. What was that, James? What was that? That maybe Bitcoin's going to run because of this gold run. So that's that. Let's look at the bubbles. 𝗕𝗑𝗄, obviously, 𝗕𝗑𝗄 liked what Jerome Powell had to say yesterday at the FOMC meeting, because 𝗕𝗑𝗄 is now at, I think, all-time highs again. 15.8, just under its all-time highs. SUI, you can see I'm a little bit down. I'm $200 down. I'm actually down on all three of my positions. I'm really not doing well in this competition. 133. But I'm confident because I'll show you later. I'll show you my thesis on 𝗬𝗎 and why I think it's actually going to go down. But don't take the short until you've seen what I have to say, because you may not agree with me. All right, so let's look at what happened at the FOMC meeting. You'll remember that first, before the FOMC meeting, before Powell talks, they publish the release of the FOMC meeting, where they told us that the interest rates went up 25 basis points. So now we're at an interest rate of 5 to 5.25, and the market is now predicting that this is terminal rate. That's it. We're at terminal rate now. There's going to be no more interest rates increases this year. In fact, the market's actually forecasting 1, 2, 3 interest rate reductions this year. I'll show you later on why that's probably not going to happen. That part was okay. In this statement, they also removed any kind of mention of increasing future rate hikes. And so what the commentators thought, and remember, all of this was before Powell spoke. They said that the Fed omits prior language that signaled more rate hikes, and the Fed therefore opens the door to a rate hike pause. So everyone was bullish that we've got that we had Powell coming out and going to comment around not increasing rates further. That was what we also covered in our spaces. I was most interested to hear whether he would acknowledge the banking collapse and what he would say about it. And he did acknowledge the banking collapse, but not exactly what I wanted. He started off the press conference saying, here is the press conference. I've picked up a habit with Powell. When he comes on and he starts talking about something, that's the thing on his mind. And he does that as a tactic to almost like, we acknowledge it, but we're not actually going to talk about it. So listen to what he said yesterday when he came on. He did actually acknowledge the banking collapse, but he denied it. He basically said, look, there is no banking collapse. What are you talking about?
Good afternoon. Before discussing today's meeting, let me comment briefly on recent developments in the banking sector.
Can you make it louder, James?
Yeah. Conditions in that sector have broadly improved since early March, and the U.S. banking system is sound and resilient. We will continue to monitor conditions in the sector. We're committed to learning the right lessons from this episode, and will work to prevent events like these from happening again. As a first step in that process, last week we released Vice Chair for Supervision Barr's review of the Federal Reserve's supervision and regulation of Silicon Valley Bank. The review's findings underscore the need to address our rules and supervisory practices to make for a stronger and more resilient banking system, and I'm confident that we will do so. From the perspective of monetary policy.
Okay, so from the perspective of monetary policy, so he acknowledged the banking crisis and he said, look, there's no banking crisis. We're going to review the presentation on Silicon Valley Bank, but there's no banking crisis. Then he goes into monetary policy and he goes into Powell computer mode. And when Powell is in computer mode, he's binary. It's black and white. And what does he say when he gets into computer mode?
Remains squarely on our dual mandate to promote maximum employment and stable prices for the American people.
Yes, yes.
My colleagues and I understand the hardship that high inflation is causing, and we remain strongly committed to bringing inflation back down to our 2% goal. Price stability is the responsibility of the Federal Reserve. Without price stability, the economy does not work for anyone.
So he just went into computer mode and went into, yeah, we're going to get inflation down to 2%. That's all we really care about. We care about getting inflation down to 2%. And then we're going to worry about unemployment and inflation. And actually, there's no banking crisis at all. That's pretty much what he said. He said it's very limited to a small number of banks. There was a little bit of talk about recession and whether we're going to see a mild recession. And you remember that when Powell was interviewed by the guys purporting to be Zelensky. So remember that they conned him, or they cheated Powell to think that he was speaking to Zelensky. Here it is. I've got it over here. I don't know if you remember that, but we think, we don't have any proof, but we think that hoaxsters, pranksters got Powell to think that he was speaking to Zelensky and he was talking about recession.
But what we're going to find is that growth in 2022 was positive but modest. It was subdued. So, 1% around that level. In terms of this year, most forecasts call for the U.S. economy to continue to grow, but at a pretty subdued level. So growth of less than 1%, let's say. But we would tell you that a recession is almost as likely as very slow growth. So
there was talk of a recession, and I think they've kind of factored in that they're going to be speaking about recession. Anyway, I'm not going to bore you guys with more details because, as I said, it was the most boring FOMC meeting in the world. Suffice to take the following out of it. Number one, Powell does not think that there is a banking collapse. Number two, he's focused only on inflation and unemployment. And the third thing is that they may stop future rate hikes, but they left the door open saying we're going to be looking at data before we make any more decisions. That is pretty much how it got summed up. Now, I watched this on CNBC and I really enjoyed 𝗕𝗓𝗕𝗏𝗔𝗥𝗡𝗧𝗏 commentary. So listen to what he said.
What's your take on what the Fed has done and how that impacts, if at all, what we're seeing in regional banks in terms of the crisis?
All right, well, let's start with the big picture, which is $1 trillion came out of the regional banking system, right? Went into money funds, went into treasuries, and went into the big four.
$1 trillion is out of the regional banking system. Imagine that, what that means. Just imagine what that means.
Right? $1 trillion. You know what that is? That's putting your hand on the neck of the lenders. Right? They're all lending less. I think that's 100 basis point equivalent to 100 basis point interest rate hike. So of course the Fed's done. Of course they're done. They're not pausing. They are done because we're actually 100 basis points higher. It's not a rate hike, right? You hike rates so that I'll borrow less. You'll borrow less.
Are we 100 points too high?
I think we're 50 basis points high.
Too high.
Higher than they thought.
So he thinks they're high, and he thinks that the Fed is finished with their increases. And to be honest, that's what the market thinks. And there's going to be 3 rate reductions coming up. Let's talk about the banking collapse, because not even 2 hours after Powell finishes speaking and says and denies the fact that there's a banking collapse, another bank, or the same bank that we spoke about yesterday, which is PacWest. This is what the chart of PacWest looked like, and they had to stop trading. They had to stop trading of PacWest. That was 2 hours. He says, so 𝗕𝗓𝗕𝗏𝗕 said, it's unprecedented humiliation for the Fed. 2 hours earlier, Powell in the US said the US banking system is sound and resilient, seemingly unaware that yet another one of the largest California banks was teetering on the edge. So they came out with an announcement. They said, we have not experienced any out of the ordinary deposit flows. PacWest will continue to evaluate all options. PacWest has been approached by several potential partners. So what it sounds like here is that this is another bank getting teed up to be sold. Another bank to be teed up to be taken over. You remember the last bank, First Republic Bank, was taken over by JP Morgan with the help of the FDIC. So it's almost like the FDIC helps you by subsidizing the buyout of the banks. And it's starting to feel like there's a pattern going on. It's starting, you got to see the pattern that's going on here. The regional banks are being put out of business by Powell and a whole lot of other policies, and we'll look at some of those other policies in a second. They're being put out of business or being put into a position where they cannot continue to operate. The equity holders, which is people like you and I, if you are dumb enough to still be invested in regional banks in the United States and you haven't taken your money out and put it into Bitcoin, at this stage, I think if you're holding banking shares, when Bitcoin exists, I think you're an absolute arsehole. And I think that you need to reevaluate a lot of your life choices, because if you can make a decision that's that dumb, then there's a lot of other dumb decisions that you can make. And I know that that's going to be memed next time Bitcoin goes down and the banks go up, but so be it. Okay, so PacWest issues this update. Here's the update over here, saying that they're open to all options. And this is pretty much, I saw this meme, but this is exactly the meme. It's like JP Morgan looking at PacWest like, here comes another one. We're about to take over another one of these regional banks for very, very, very cheap. 𝗕𝗏𝗕𝗏𝗏 then writes an article, and he says, when PacWest is forced into receivership, it will be the 5th largest bank failure in US history. Now remember, we spoke about bank failures yesterday. Number 2, number 3, and number 4 were all in 2023. Number 5, if it gets taken over, is also going to be in 2023. That means 4 of the 5 biggest banking collapses in the history of the United States have taken place in 2023. That's the first thing that he talks about. And he talks about in a blog, he wrote a whole blog around what this actually means. And the nutshell of the blog, I'm not going to bore you very much, but the nutshell of the blog is what we've been saying. It is that there is some kind of coordinated effort to crash the US regional banks and to consolidate them under the big banks. Now, where 𝗕𝗚𝗕𝗓 finishes off is he says that what the end game is first JP Morgan coin, then CBDC. He says that they're probably all going to be taken over by the big banks like JP Morgan. They're going to issue a JP Morgan coin, and that JP Morgan coin then becomes the CBDC, or is the precursor to a CBDC. You got to keep your eyes open. Another guy, I think it's 𝗕𝗚𝗕𝗏, says that depositors with more than $250,000 in an accredited bank should pay a small insurance premium to the FDIC, basically to insure their deposits. Because remember, you only insured up to $250,000. Now, who's gaining here? Who's gaining from all these regional banking collapses? Well, the big banks are gaining because they are taking over the small banks, subsidized by the FDIC. Imagine that. Imagine how cool is the business model where you can take over your failing competitors, subsidized by the insurance company that these people are insured by. The second bunch of people that are benefiting from this is none other than...
Welcome back to Squawk Box. Amid regional bank failures, lawmakers have been cashing out, so it appears, according to Watchdog Capital Trades. First Republic Bank was the most heavily sold stock on the Hill in March. Those sales aggregated an estimated $48,000 between at least 5 members of the U.S. House of Representatives. One of those lawmakers, Representative Lois Frankel of Florida, sold First Republic on March 16th. She then bought shares of JP Morgan before it purchased the embattled regional bank. In a statement, Representative Frankel said, quote, "My account is managed independently by a money manager who buys and sells stocks at his discretion." Joining us now with more is 𝗕𝗏𝗏, money and policy reporter at the New York Times and a CNBC contributor. Kate, you know, some of these guys have these amazing money.
Yeah. My account is managed by a money manager. Where have we heard that? I'll tell you where we've heard that. Nancy Pelosi said that, and there was another senator that said, I can't remember her name, but she's no longer part of the Senate. So clearly, there is a banking collapse. I want to just take you back to this video over here because he also talks about the banking collapse, and I think it's important that you hear what he says because he just says it so nicely.
Whoever's in front of you,
not a problem.
Whoever's in front of you.
Dimon said it's contained.
Okay.
Powell said it's
all
contained.
Right, come
They're
on.
pretty smart people.
The guy who makes my suits says suits look good. He doesn't work. He's not going to talk about everyone's working at home and no one's buying suits, right? People, if you ask any banker now, they say banking's fine except for what? Who's calling PacWest to make a loan today?
You ever heard?
Answer: nobody.
You ever have a real estate guy say, God, things are really going to be bad soon? They never say that's always, oh my God, it's a great time.
So, yeah, I mean, what's going on is pretty blatant. It does look like 𝗕𝗚𝗏𝗏's right with his whole analysis that there is a banking collapse going on. The banking collapse is to consolidate power with the big banks, and so that it becomes easier to launch a CBDC. Who's gaining? The politicians are gaining, and the big donor banks are gaining. That's pretty much what's going on here. You need to open your eyes. You need to see it. I think it's a good time to plug one of our sponsors. Because if you are looking for a banking solution that is one place for your crypto and is regulated and for your fiat. So regulated fiat and crypto, you can use Scallop. So they are one of our sponsors. I'm telling you, I'm plugging a sponsor. But I do think that this is the future of bank account. It's a crypto and fiat bank account in one bank account, completely regulated if you live in the EU, in the UK, in Canada. And what they do is they also use ZK technology so that they can give you privacy. So this is a bank where you can get privacy using ZK technology. You also get a card. So you get a card where you can spend your fiat and your crypto. So good time. There's a link below. Go and check them out. Also, they give a lot of love to the channel. So go and check them out. And also just unbank yourself. Get out of the regional banks. Get out of the big banks and start the step of unbanking yourself. All right, let me tell you why I think that we may be getting a run in Bitcoin and why I think that we may actually finally soon break this $30,000 level. Tell you why. Because I've seen this movie before. And the last time I saw this movie, Bitcoin went to an all-time high. And I'm seeing the same movie play out again. And when I see things playing out again, then I say, we've got to have a look at it. So here it is. This is the gold chart. And what you'll realize is that the gold chart had an all-time high just after COVID. So after COVID, which was in 2021 or 2020, gold started to climb. Gold went up on a tear. And you can see that then gold peaked just after COVID over here. And yesterday, after the FOMC meeting, gold spiked. Now, I looked at the correlation between Bitcoin and gold. And what I realized was exactly what I remember from the COVID correction and how gold recovered very, very quickly. But what happened was you had the COVID correction over here. Then gold recovered very, very quickly because people thought that the world was about to collapse. And a couple of months later, Bitcoin started to climb as people realized that Bitcoin was this new digital gold. And that trend has continued. So what you see here is in March 2022, again, you had gold climbing to its all-time high. And then shortly thereafter, a couple of months thereafter, Bitcoin climbs to its all-time high. And that same pattern is starting to repeat again. What we realized is that what happens is people invest in gold. And I do think that they will continue to invest in gold for actually quite a long time. I don't think that Bitcoin is going to replace gold as this store of value for quite a few years. But when the gold price goes up and the market gets too frothy, people start to move to something else. And they say, you know what? I can't buy gold. I can't be buying gold at 2,200. It's an all-time high. What else should I be buying? And what they do is they go and buy Bitcoin, digital gold. And we saw that happen in the COVID collapse. We saw that happen a couple of months after. You can see again when this little peak happened. Here, first gold peaked. Couple of months later, then Bitcoin peaked. Same thing happened over here. First gold peaked. Then a couple of months later, Bitcoin peaked. You can see it's a pattern that keeps repeating itself. So you got to watch that pattern. And right now, gold's at all-time highs. So I really do think that this time is not going to be different. I think that this time we're going to get gold going to Bitcoin going to all-time highs. I think much sooner than people think. All right, I have a big question for you. Why are there only 577 likes? Is it something I'm wearing? Is it something that I said? Is it my perfume? My aftershave? What is going on here? Where is everybody? Smash the like button, obliterate it. Tell everyone we're here. Tell everyone that this is a good show. Let's get the likes to all-time highs. Apparently, if the likes go to all-time highs, then Bitcoin goes to all-time highs. I'm just saying. All right. Another token that's at all-time highs is our green friend 𝗕𝗚𝗕𝗏. So it went to an all-time high again today, 18.47. Also all-time high in terms of number of holders. Let's quickly just refresh that. 83,930 holders. Let's quickly check our holders spreadsheet. So let's just see. You can see that on the holders, you can see which ones are increasing, which ones are decreasing. So since we checked this, and again, this doesn't include all the hodlers, because if the hodlers are on the exchanges, we don't have the data of how many accounts are in the exchanges. But what you can see is you can see that Doge has increased, Shiba's increased, 𝗕𝗚𝗕𝗏 has increased by a lot, Floki is starting to increase. What are you seeing here? You're seeing that the meme coin holders, the meme coins, the holders are increasing at a very, very, very fast pace. The casino is growing at a very, 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 very fast pace. You can see that. Sorry, every time I say it, there we go. So you can see that the casino is growing at a very fast pace. 𝗕𝗚𝗕𝗏 is at an all-time high even before it gets listed on Binance. And I did see this. One, right now, 𝗕𝗚𝗕𝗏 is the most traded meme coin. I think that's pretty obvious. It's taking market share from Shiba and Doge. But everyone's trying to get in. Even people like 𝗲𝗏𝗵𝗫. He's like, okay, I give in. How the hell do I buy turbo? I'm such a 𝗕𝗫𝗕𝗏𝗕𝗏𝗏. So everybody wants to get into this meme coin mania. And they all know that these meme coins have zero utility. It's just a casino where people buy because they think other people are going to buy off them, and they try and sell it before other people start to sell it. So that's pretty much what's going on. You know that. I've been telling you that all week. There should be no news to you there. There was another coin, though, called WallStreetBets coin, and that just showed the risks of this thing, because this thing ragged. Look at it. This thing ragged. It was climbing beautifully. To be honest, I actually nearly bought it because of, it's WallStreetBets coin, and then it ragged. And now there's a whole lot of stone throwing in terms of who actually ragged it. Was it this guy? So what I decided to do, get the founder of WallStreetBets on. He's going to tell us exactly what happened. How's it going, Jamie? Welcome back.
Good. Thank you very much. Glad to be back. I appreciate you having me on for this.
So for people who don't really know you, just a little introduction. Who are you? What is WallStreetBets? How does it work?
So I'll give an introduction, and I'll also segue that into kind of the background of this story because it's relevant and not being talked about. 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗔𝗏𝗔𝗍𝒑. I founded WallStreetBets, both the subreddit, the idea, the book, all the, this concept that has just taken the world by a firestorm. WallStreetBets is a community focused on stocks, and the mentality of the ethos is very similar to that of crypto. In fact, I've spent the past few years giving talks at like Consensus and various different crypto communities because of the parallelisms behind there. So that's WallStreetBets. It became really famous, household name during was shortly after the pandemic when the GameStop short squeeze took place. There's like 7 different documentaries on this topic. And that's it. That's WallStreetBets is basically the crypto community on the stock market. And that leads me to kind of the background of the story. I create WallStreetBets in 2012. I grow it. I help foster it with the help of the community and with the help of various moderators. Shortly after the pandemic, a group of moderators decided to kick me out as I was trying to expand WallStreetBets' reach outside of just Reddit. I'd written this book. I'm trying to, turn this into an esports concept. And these mods decided to try and empower themselves. I get removed from this. And this is relevant because this animosity that's been taking place from these moderators has continued against me for years. It's gotten to the point where I'm in a lawsuit with Reddit, etc. But now let's get back to this week. This past week, I get involved with a token that's called the 𝗕𝗏𝗕𝗏𝗕𝗏. This awesome token with this awesome community. I endorse this token. It actually has roots much deeper than anybody realized that it had with regards to WallStreetBets. And it wanted to create, in fact, you had mentioned last time I was on the show, there should be a WallStreetBets token with this great community. And I believe this was going to be it, right? And so I sent out this tweet. This coin starts doing really well. 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗏, which is opinion is popular, who's currently the top moderator, they get upset, right? There's plenty of screenshots out there to show the conversations.
Is this
watching me continue to grow?
Is unpopular? Is this actually is unpopular? Is he doxxed?
He is doxxed. Well, now he is. Not voluntarily. 𝗕𝗓𝗓𝗏 was fully doxxed voluntarily. OIP is what he's known for. His acronyms kind of switch around, but that's the consistent way. Who's the current top mod? He became doxxed last night after all the stone throwing, right? So they behind the scenes say they are tired of watching Jamie continue to grow. I'm getting all sorts of I continue pushing the vision despite being antagonized by these guys for years, despite having to get into this legal battle. And so they decide out of spite, out of jealousy, out of who knows what, out of anger, like they continue. Well, they decide to start their own meme coin to compete directly. If you go on this WSB coin website, quite literally, you can hear in their voice, like, we are tired of people doing WallStreetBets coins without us making money from it, right? Like, it was just, it was out of jealousy and anger. And the tweets that were coming out promoting this coin, they were all negative in nature in that they were targeting us. They start flooding us, right? Our coin was also...
Hold on. This coin that I'm showing on the screen that went to a high of about 0.008 and is trading now at 0.00009, is that the coin that you guys launched or the coin that they launched?
This is the coin that they launched and subsequently rugged. This was their revenge coin. So if you do a search on that same chart for WSB, I think it's WallStreetBaby. You'll see exactly that first one. Yeah. So I'll show you what happened on this chart. We launched this coin, right? And you see that huge spike upwards. That was when I got involved. I sent out a tweet this weekend, and that was showing that this thing was going to be successful. This is around the same time when this token is doing extremely well that these moderators decide to go at me again. So they create this coin in haste after this tweet, if you can match up these timelines, and they go out there and say, hey, FUD Jamie again. We don't like Jamie. Everything he does is bad. And as you can see, our chart was affected by that. But I'm used to that. We're like, we'll get past this. We're positive. We're a great community. Doesn't matter. They then start promoting their coin to the point where I start back channeling with them. I actually had a conversation. I say, hey, why are we flooding each other? Why can't there just be, multiple WallStreetBets? It's supposed to be a thing of the people, grassroots. No single person should have the power, including myself. Let's stop mutually self-destructing, especially since individuals that are innocent are going to get hurt by this, right? You guys have successfully knocked the price of this thing down. You've caused people to lose money. And because we're fighting, I'm also slowing down your growth, right? They start, it doesn't matter what happens behind the scenes because I wasn't there with regards to why they turned this offer down. And then the following day, 𝗔𝗍𝗔 decides to rug it. So that chart that you currently have on, I tweeted last night the ETH scan transaction blockchain, where a user called 𝗕𝗍𝗔, whose ETH address is 𝗕𝗍𝗕.eth, decides to just sell everything, $600,000 worth of ETH. And he disappears along with OIP. This was a multi-sig wallet that they had controlled, that they were controlling at the time. They'd given themselves some huge airdrop, which is part of where they were able to sell their funds from. They decide to just sell everything and run. And they've been AWOL ever since. This morning,
but they doxed. I mean, I saw someone saying, someone said, "Hey, if you don't admit this, they're going to go to the FBI."
Correct. So I'll walk you through that one. So 𝗕𝗏𝗏, he's the one that actually ended up revealing that picture of the guy eating the corn. That's OIP, and his identity had not been revealed prior to that tweet, and the one that came after that. The reason for 𝗕𝗍𝗔 deciding to do this, I don't really understand. Maybe he thought he could get away with it. Maybe he thought that nobody would be upset. Maybe he does. I don't really know. But their lack of knowledge on crypto was evident from the start. Their contract was poorly written. Everybody criticized the fact that they left the open mint function there. Everyone criticized the fact that they had paid themselves like 5% or something like that of their wallet, where the new way of launching tokens is using this fair launch approach. There's just little bad signs of either being sloppy or greedy or both.
So there is a rug. We think we're not going to say we know for sure, but we think that these guys are the guys that rugged. We're not going to get involved in, because I'm scared.
I agree.
So we think that these are the guys that rug. So certainly that's what the information. That's what 𝗧𝗥𝗏𝗏 has been reporting. You're saying that this Wall Street baby hasn't been rugged, and this Wall Street baby is your token that you guys launched, which is still alive and well.
This is correct.
And
this is correct. Yes, that ugly. Correct. Yes.
This one is the scam coin, not scam coin, the coin that has been potentially rugged by the 𝗕𝗏𝗕𝗏.
That is correct. Yes, you're
okay.
100%
got it. All right, we got it. Just quickly, this meme coin that you've launched, I'm just interested to know, like, do you promise that? Do you say that this meme coin actually has any kind of use case, or is it just a meme coin? Like, I'm really interested.
It is a self-described meme coin and nothing above that. But it's one that's got a ton of heart.
It's a coin with heart. That's what it is. It's just a coin with heart behind it, right?
It's a coin with heart and history. I could go on about it, but I didn't come here to plug that coin. I came here to try and give some background on this information, because when this happens, there's a lot of noise that gets thrown out there.
Amazing. Listen, Jamie, much love, brother. We'll see you again soon. I think we've clarified it. The corn eaters. The way I see the story is the guys that ate the corn ate all the profits from all the people that were trading in the meme coin. That's pretty much how we can sum it up, right?
Yeah, pretty much. Yep.
Jamie, thanks, brother.
Thank you very much.
Jamie built an amazing movement. I mean, he built WallStreetBets, which is, it was the stock movement for the people. So, I mean, he's been on the show before. He's actually a friend of the show. He's a great guy, a really good guy. I'm not telling you to go and buy his meme coin. I'm not telling you to buy any meme coin. But let me tell you that it is a casino. And again, I say to you, there's nothing wrong with playing in the casino if you know you're playing in the casino. If you're fooling yourself that these things are investments, well, then you're an idiot. But if you know that you're going to a casino and you're buying things based on heart and hype, and the fact that you may buy them before they actually start running, well, then you can actually make money. And a lot of people are actually making a lot of money. I've been reading more and more stories of people making a lot of money. Some people make money the right way. Some people make money potentially the wrong way. Why would you pose for a fucking picture like that at any point in time? I mean, this is one of those pictures that you'd find on like Grindr and shit. Isn't this what the stuff you see on Grindr, 𝗕𝗏𝗕𝗏? You don't know, bro. Come on, bro. All right, let's talk other altcoins. Let's see what else is happening in the altcoin market. So 𝗕𝗚𝗵 all-time high, Curve up a little bit because what they did was they finally launched Curve USD, the long-anticipated launch of Curve USD. For those of you who don't know what Curve is a exchange where specifically you trade stablecoin versus stablecoin. Like it's the biggest stablecoin versus stablecoin exchange in the world. Now, they have launched an exchange where you can borrow against your deposit. So if you deposit X amount of USDT, you can now borrow against your deposit and get Curve stablecoin. Curve. James, did I ask you to change my screen? Okay, let's try that again. Now can you change my screen? See, it's a decentralized stablecoin. It's a collateralized debt position stablecoin based on Curve's lending and liquidating AMM algorithm. So that's what it is. They've minted 20 million of these coins. It's a long anticipated launch. I like Curve. I'm an investor in Curve. I'm not telling you to invest. I don't think there's great upside in Curve, but I am an investor. Let's talk about SUI because, as I said to you, I am short. This is like a dumb short position because I'm not short with conviction here. That's the problem. I'm not short with conviction here. I shorted because I was bored last night in the FOMC meeting. I think that it's not fair that SUI has a $13 billion fully diluted and that the other one, Aptos, has a $10 billion. I think that the one's going to go down, the one's going to go up. Now, there are a couple of other things that you've got to take into effect. The first thing is there's a very low circulating supply of SUI, less than 5% the tokens are in circulation, which means the market makers can actually manipulate this price very, 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 very easily. So you've got to be super, super, super careful. So I might actually cut the short, but long term, I do think this thing actually lands up going down. Jordy actually also made a very good point here. What he says, look, SUI is just another layer one, and he says that the layer one investors have a limited amount of money, and by launching another layer one, you're basically taking money you're taking from the ecosystem. You're not bringing new investors in here, which is why Aptos has gone down. And basically, it's just like taking money from the one and passing it to the other. DeFi Maestro holds the opposite opinion. He says, look, he got a couple of DMs regarding his recent SUI position. I was looking around for market opportunities outside of meme coins. SUI stood out. Why? They heavily funded. They're the second most hyped move-based ecosystem after Aptos, which is, by the way, trading cheaper. Predatory tokenomics from launch. So he admits that tokenomics are very predatory, very low circulating supply to screw retail investors, and lack of airdrops. So that you're not going to be selling. Essentially means that SUI had a decent chance of providing a vibrant DeFi ecosystem if they deployed the money well. He talks about all the tokenomics. He says, after a breakdown of tokenomics, a deeper dive was in two factors: initial supply versus that of Aptos. He looks at the initial supply. That's the initial supply of SUI. 5.28% is in circulation. So if you're buying this coin, you're a bloody idiot. Unless you really think that it's going to increase faster than the token releases are going to come out. And he says that the market makers are not only going to dump, even though the market makers hold a lot of the coins, they're not only going to dump. I don't buy it. I'm not touching it. I am selling it. But I'll tell you one thing, okay? Let me tell you something, okay? I want to tell you something. James, can I play a video without actually seeing it, but can I get the sound? Is that possible?
Yes, go for it.
Okay, so I want to tell you something. Even though I'm shorting SUI, I'm selling SUI at $1.30, okay? I'm not as dumb as the FTX liquidator. Cue the laugh.
Ve por la paellera. Venga, que las 2 de la tarde ya están aquí.
I'm not as dumb
La chancla.
as the FTX liquidator.
No me dio tiempo nada ponerme la chancla y el bañador.
Guess what he did, okay? Guess what he did.
Voy a la playa, había subido la marea.
He sold his SUI tokens for $96 million. The FTX liquidator sold his SUI tokens back to Mr. Labs for $96 million. Okay, can stop the music now, okay? This idiot.
Estaba la paellera agarrada entre las piedras de chipiones.
Okay, hold on, let me switch this
Y
off.
cuando entro en el restaurante me ve.
Right, actually, we can keep this guy laughing. We should actually keep him laughing, but just at a lower volume. Okay, there we go. So
Voy a la playa, había subido la
the FTX liquidator, okay, he sells 890 million SUI tokens back to Miston Labs for $96 million. They paid $101 million, and on launch yesterday, it was worth $1.1 billion. That's who the FTX creditors have got acting for them. A guy that, or a team that is willing to sell something that is potentially worth $10 billion, okay? Sorry, $1 billion, and they went and sold it for $100 million. Also, on FTX news, they're clawing back $3.9 billion from Genesis, or they're going to move to claw back $3.9 billion from Genesis. It's going to be a really interesting case. So that is that. There are a couple other things we should talk about. I made a whole folder here of like Coinbase. No more borrowing against your Bitcoin in Coinbase because of regulatory pressure. Because Gary. No more borrowing against your Bitcoin on Coinbase. But the US court has ordered the SEC to respond to Coinbase allegations within 10 days. Nowhere to hide, Gary. Nowhere to hide, sir. Nowhere to hide. If you are following liquid staking, Rocket Pool and Frax are currently winning in the past month. So they're getting all the TVL. If you look at the TVL on Rocket Pool and Frax, up 20% and up 30%. So that's another thing to look at. I'm still analyzing these. These are the total dexes by users and stuff like that. I'll come back to you with the valuations here to tell you which ones to be buying. Remember ByBit Competition? There are 419 spaces left. Miami, I think there's one more ticket to go. There's still the last ticket to go. So if you want to come to Miami and come to the party with dinner with me, Sheldon, Miles, Hustle, etc., you go to our video today. You say crypto. Let's just quickly get there. Crypto Banter, and then you click here and shut up, and then you'll see here there is a Miami party somewhere. So if you could ever find it, you deserve to come for free. James, is there no Miami party? Oh, there we go. Bit1 Miami. Click here, get it. When they ask you for the coupon code, you got to put in Crypto Banter, otherwise it doesn't count. Very important. If you did buy a ticket and you didn't know about using the Crypto Banter link, just email giveaways@cryptobanter.com and tell us what your email address is, and we'll get that ticket credited to you. So that you can do. Also remember OKX competition. You can win a Tesla. So just be trading and you can win a Tesla. The Tesla will be given away on the 22nd of May. So every trade that you sign up for and you trade now until the 22nd of May, you can win that Tesla. Lastly, I do want to give a shout out. This is a very important sponsor of ours. They sponsored our event, or they sponsored our coverage of the consensus that we went to. It's a company called Crypto Tax Audit. Now, there are a couple of things, specifically if you're American. I know that about 40% of you are American, but these guys are a bunch of accountants that really know how to audit crypto and how to help you with your crypto taxes. Okay, so they're very, very, very reasonably priced. So get hold of them. This is their website. They can help you do the taxes and they know all the tricks of a trade. But they also have a system where you can almost pay like an insurance. So you just pay like a monthly fee, and then if you ever get audited, they represent you for free. And they make sure that they represent you with the IRS for free. So I think you should look at it. Probably worth looking at. Specifically if you're in the US. I don't think that you can avoid paying taxes, but I think that these guys are the best guys to help you if you're in the US and you want someone to help you with the taxes. These are the good guys. These are like the guys on our side. These are not the guys on the other side. These are the guys on our side that can help you, and if you think you might get into a bad situation. So cryptotaxaudit.com, go and check them out. I shall see you guys again in a few minutes. Don't forget, we have in a few minutes, we are going live. Actually, it's in about 26 minutes. We're going live to talk about how to invest in the Cosmos ecosystem. So if you want to invest in the Cosmos ecosystem, there's a Twitter Spaces over here. Big guests coming to this Twitter Spaces. And we're going to be talking about how to invest in the Cosmos ecosystem, because you can't buy the Cosmos, the Atom token. That doesn't capture the technology. So if you want to join, just go set yourself a reminder, and I will see you again tomorrow. Oh, Friday Banter tomorrow. So Friday Banter tomorrow, a guy called 𝗕𝗜𝗧𝗕𝗏. We just got a bunch of meme coin degens. That's basically what we've got. Can you put that tied up again? So there it is. Chad, Caf, 𝗕𝗜𝗧𝗕𝗏. Is Pepe coming on the show tomorrow? No, come on. I can't. Okay, well, anyway, they're all here tomorrow. So I'll see you guys again tomorrow. Until then, hold on. Someone's saying, okay, that one's coming down. Hold on. There might be a screaming buy here. We will be talking about it. Hold on. Got to check the research group to make sure that I've given you guys all the up-to-date. Do you feel like a funny video? Do you feel like a funny video?
From the testimony of Gary Gensler, chair of the Securities Exchange Commission.
Do you want a funny video? Yes or no? Just tell me in the comments. If you want one, I'll play you one. If you don't want one, that's also fine. I get it. It's not the best down the markets. If you do, say yes. If you don't, say no. Just let me know if you want it. Yes. Okay. The poll says yes.
Good morning. It's obvious I was lying during the press conference. Banks are in fact not fine. I just have to make them cheaper next time for my dear friend, Jamie Dimon, the real chairman of the Fed. Did you regards forget who appointed me? The Mango Man did, and I am a seed agent of chaos. Most of my tenure has been chaotic and historic. The first global pandemic, then my money printer's quantitative easing that you all got hooked on. Now, a recession in an election year would complete my character arc as a Bond villain. These regional banks were too addicted to sucking on my money printer. They sucked it so hard and long that they OD'd. What's God without a little OD? He's just a G. More than 100 banks died in 2008. We've only had like 3 so far. We still have a long way to go. I know there will be idiots who buy puts on banks in their Robinhood account and then complain that their 300,000 in gains are stuck and want to sue Vlad and Robinhood. Vlad works for Kenny and me, okay? Your lawsuits are not going to go anywhere. When I dropped my mixtape cipher, you bulls didn't listen. Now you better hope and pray that Tim Apple saves your market, but given what Qualcomm just said in their guidance, the chances of that are skinny. You all got used to VIX being down at 16. Now you will see what happens when Vol jumps back up. You should have listened to Jam Croissant when he said that there was too much potential energy because of where the SPOOS was. Also, you fucks, especially you Sater, forgot why they say sell in May and walk away. Now don't fucking complain about Gamma being unstable or some shit. Go eat your cup noodles while you seethe and cope. I swear Bill Ackman is going to be on TV tomorrow crying about banks again. He's such a little whiny bitch. He wouldn't last a day in my world without someone pimp-smacking his stupid face. Lastly, I want to readdress that regarded journalist who asked if I had regrets. Yes, regrets I have a few, but then again, fuck your puts, fuck your calls. Jay Powell has you by the balls. God bless my money printer.
Okay, and God bless our YouTube video because this one's definitely getting shadow banned. See you guys again tomorrow. Until then, trade well, my friends.